Welcome to or back to our YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a little different.
We are interviewing Stephanie Matthews, a jazz enthusiast changing the world.
You'll find out more about her during this interview, so
enjoy.
My name is Stephanie Matthews. I am a career photographer and creative director, but I'm also the executive director of a nonprofit here based in Columbus called A Tribe for Jazz. And I've been in that role for 3 years. Prior to that, I was shooting fashion, beauty, editorial, fine art, dance here in Los Angeles and New York, but I'm based here in Columbus. I live here on the east side. And yeah.
What got you into photography?
So my dad, this was around 2003. My dad was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer. And I wanted to learn photography so that I could document his journey and kind of understand and learn about him as a human being. And I was hoping to maybe understand him better as a man and as my father. So I started working with some documentary photographers that I knew. I picked up a film camera, because back then it was film, there was no digital, and I learned how to shoot. And so I documented him through his final days, and he died in 2005. And then after that, I was already shooting portrait work, and I had done a show, self-produced. I wanted to expand and keep going in that realm, and so I ended up going to the Maine Photographic Institute. I studied with Joyce Tennyson, who's a world-renowned fine art photographer. She referred me to an internship in New York, and so then I went and interned with a celebrity fashion photographer named Matthew Jordan Smith. Lived in New York City, and then I started shooting dance, and that's how that kind of all got started. So at that time, though, I was like 33, so it's like important to note that I was like a 33-year-old intern, so that's like real. It was crazy.
That's so cool, though.
You said you started photography like with a film camera.
Yes.
Does that mean like you taught yourself how to shoot that?
I did. So yeah, I knew some guys who were like some of the best documentary photographers around. And so I grabbed tips from them, and then I was reading a bunch of books. I was studying literally everything that I could. And it was just a lot of practice. There was a lot of back and forth learning on my own. So yes, I am a self-taught photographer.
That's so cool. So you mentioned Tribe for Jazz. What got you into jazz in the first place?
So growing up, my grandmother on my mom's side played jazz all the time. There was always like Ella Fitzgerald or Sarah Vaughan or Billie Holiday or Louis Armstrong playing in the house, because I'd go there after school to my grandmother's house and on the weekends. And jazz was always all around us. But a whole bunch of different kinds of music were, because so I grew up listening to Motown, and then blues. So there was blues, there was Motown, there was like pop music playing in our house, easy listening stuff. So I have like this really wide exposure to a lot of different musics, including classical. But I've always been drawn to jazz. And when I was in middle school, I picked up the trumpet because of Louis Armstrong. I loved Louis Armstrong and the sound of his horn, and that's when I started playing trumpet because of Louis Armstrong. And so did my brother too.
Do you still play trumpet?
I don't. I only did it 6th through 12th grade. I was good. Okay, I was good. But you got to be great to keep going on to college. You know what I mean? And you need the chops, which I didn't have. So.
Was trumpet the only instrument that you've ever played?
It was. Although I wanted to play the saxophone, like desperately. I love the look of the saxophone, and then I also wanted to be a drummer. But you have to have that rhythm, and like my left side is a little slower. But I think drummers are the coolest things in the world.
So you love jazz. So what made you decide to start sharing that with others?
So it was really by kind of like divine alignment. It was during the pandemic, where I met my business partner, who is the founder of A Tribe for Jazz. I'm one of the co-founders. And like I said, everything was shut down. And so because I wasn't doing photography, I wasn't traveling to New York, I wasn't traveling anywhere, I took a job down the street from my house at a retail shop. And he was a customer. He would come in, and we just started talking. And he asked me one day, well, what is it exactly that you do? And I said, well, I'm a photographer and a creative director. And so I gave him my business card. And then like an hour later, he emails me and he says, I saw your work. I think there's something we could do together. And so we just started having conversations about what A Tribe for Jazz was that he was trying to do and what it could be, what more it could be. And so I came on board. And our very first project during the pandemic, mind you, was a performance film, a full-length cinematic performance film that we shot during the pandemic. And that was our very first project.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What ongoing projects do you have moving forward?
Sure.
Obviously continuing Tribe for Jazz, but are you adding anything else? Are you changing anything?
Okay, so great question. So the mission of A Tribe for Jazz is to preserve the legacy and advance the future of jazz. And we do that through visual storytelling, the live and virtual performances, education, and community engagement. So as I said, that very first project we did was a film project, which we released worldwide. We won, it was in film festivals. We toured around and did like film talks, and we screened the film and talked about the work in it, which was like this, it was this saxophonist named John Arabagon. He's like world renowned. He's like one of the best improvisational saxophonists in the world. And it was a feature about him, and it was like 7 original compositions of his that he improvised all the way through, and it was like really interesting shot, the way we shot it, and a lot of color. And it was just really dramatic. And so from there, after we toured it and everything, I had an idea to take a piece of the film and put it in an education program. So what we did was, the kids were still like, it was still COVID, right? And everybody was doing remote learning, and they had just gotten back into full-time in-person learning in Columbus Public Schools. And so I was talking to administrators and principals and teachers and whatnot to try to find out what was going on with the youth, you know, how they were feeling, how they were adapting, what kind of stress they were under coming back from COVID. Because, I mean, you guys know there was a lot that happened, right? And it's difficult learning remotely. And so what we found is that there was a lot of anxiety and depression. They didn't have access to arts. There was just a lot of emotional regression and things happening. And so we decided, okay, well, you know, it might be nice to show this film, you know, just as something different in the schools. But I realized quickly that there was more that we could do. So I created a program, and it's a 5-step program. And it was originally called An Exploration of Emotions and Color Through Jazz Music. That was the title. And it was for 3rd through 8th graders. And so what would happen is they would do like mindfulness exercises where they could like center themselves and relax and be calm, and the teachers would dim the lights and, you know, to get them focused. And then they would watch a little bit of the film, depending on their attention span. They would watch a little bit of the film, then they would break into groups, and they would do, we'd play the music then from the film, and then they would do these collaborative art projects. And then there would be like an exhibition where everybody could walk around and discuss, and then these group discussions. And so that was pretty incredible. And we did that in Westside Columbus City Schools. And it also, that year that we released that pilot program, it was named a finalist rather for the Greater Columbus Arts Council Art Mix Excellence Awards. It didn't win, but it was a finalist, which was cool because that was our first big, you know, it was
That's
great.
cool.
Yeah, it was great. But from there, I love education, and I love being able to introduce young people to the arts in a lot of different ways. And so we took that program and we adapted it into a couple of other versions. One for adults, which we just created a film about called Exploration, and that film is going to release on Thursday, tomorrow. And then we also adapted it to the veteran space. So Allie, you know, your dad being a veteran, you participated in the version we did at the National Veterans Memorial. And so that's the Exploration program. And we're also now, we did a series in the libraries. Okay, so we were here at the Gahanna Library for a jazz appreciation series. We were here, we were over at Linden, Barnett, Hilltop, and Carl Road Branch, I think, for music performances, live performances, discussions, or we would show like some of our jazz films because we have a few of them that we've produced. So there's that part. In terms of community engagement, we have partnerships with the Columbus Library System. We did the partnership with the Westside Columbus City Schools, a new partnership with Denison Edge, which is part of Denison University, and that's a thought leadership series, as well as the National Veterans Memorial. And for the future, which I'm excited about, we're working on some grants to move jazz, to connect it more to STEM education.
That's cool.
Science, tech, engineering, mathematics,
Yeah.
and or STEAM education. And I'm also looking for ways to intersect jazz with the neurodivergent community. I mean, the future looks really bright for Tribe for Jazz. What was it, last night? What is today? Wednesday?
It's the 10th, yeah, Wednesday.
Okay, Monday, on the 8th, April 8th, Monday, we were at the Columbus City Council chambers. We received our third resolution from the City of Columbus. And that was a resolution celebrating the legacy of jazz in Columbus, Ohio, as well as Jazz Appreciation Month, which is now officially Jazz Appreciation Month for the month of April in Columbus, Ohio. So that was exciting. And we're just doing a lot of different things, to advance the future. We've got a current series, the Jazz Appreciation Month series, and then the Columbus International Jazz series, which will run from April to September. All these really fantastic national and international artists coming in, free performances at CCAD, at Columbus Dance Theater, Capital University. So a lot of exciting things happening. So, yeah.
I noticed you said that you were connecting jazz and art and branching it together. Do you work with any art therapists or anyone of that field? Because we're doing a project on art therapy and helping children in the hospital system.
Wonderful. I've spoken to art therapists actually at, there's actually one art therapist at the Columbus, let's scratch this home. I've actually talked to a number of different art therapists, and there was one in particular over at the Nationwide Children's Hospital. They actually have one art therapist there that manages a certain floor. And I thought it was fascinating because I would think that there'd be more art therapy throughout the Children's Hospital system. And I think that's something that they're looking to grow, which I think is exciting. But yes, I've worked with art therapists. In fact, Maggie Colwell, who you met when she facilitated the program at National Veterans Memorial, she's a certified art therapist here in Columbus, Ohio, and she's worked nationwide. And they're really incredible in terms of what they do and how they do it. And I don't know all the science behind it, but the understanding is art therapy, when you're in the midst of art therapy, it's about self-expression through the work. And that's an important part of our exploration program, as you know. And so I just think that work is really fantastic. I've yet to sit down personally and do a session, although I love to use art as a tool for just like stress release. But art therapists go a lot deeper. They're working with you either one-on-one or in group sessions to work through past traumas and to help you like find peace as well as breakthroughs through the art. I think it's a really exciting field, and I'm really glad too. I don't know if you knew this, but they just got licensed in the state of Ohio. There was like a 30-year battle to get art therapy and music therapy as a licensed treatment in the state of Ohio, and that just happened. So it's great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's pretty obvious that you've worked really hard to get where you are. So would you have any advice for anyone?
So, I'll use my life as an example. So I was a creative director and a photographer. I am still those things. I've been those things for, almost 20 years. But I allowed myself to be open to new possibilities. I allowed myself to be open to continue to grow. I think it's important for anyone, regardless of what it is that you pursue, that you have to be a lifelong learner. And that means, I can't stress it enough, because sometimes we push back when we're forced to learn new things. We're like, okay, it just seems overwhelming. But if you look at all of those wonderful things as just development, personal development, I think of myself as someone who, it's not really about being a jack of all trades and a master of none, because I've mastered a number of things, but it is, I can talk to anybody about just about, any, conversation point. And that's because of my, desire to constantly learn, to read, to examine new ideas, to explore opportunities. So this idea of being adaptable, of being flexible, of seeing opportunities, allowing yourself to see opportunities everywhere, because they are all around. And some people have a very closed mindset, like, I'm only going to be good at this. This is my area. And it's a very fixed, closed mindset. It's, I think it's much more gratifying to, even if you don't go in a certain direction, but it's something that you've always wanted to try it, explore it. And the idea is not about being, achieving perfection in it. It's really about self-growth. And so that's one thing, adaptability and flexibility. Also, too, the idea that things don't always come to you the way you think they will, okay? I was not looking for an opportunity when I met my business partner. I wasn't expecting it. I was working during the pandemic because I'm a gig worker, freelancer, and so I needed to work and bring income into my house. And I was simply trying to get through that period of time, those 2 years. And within that, you never know who's watching. He was. And when the time was right, he came and asked about me and inquired. He had recognized my character and hard work, and that I always showed up for people. And always delivered service with a smile. And it was hard because this is retail. You know what I mean? I'm coming from, this is hard. And on top of that, it was the pandemic, right? But it is about how you show up, regardless of whatever you're doing. And no, that's not my career field, okay? But I am here now, and so I'm going to be my best self. He recognized that. And then from there, guess what? A new door. And then here I am now, 3 years later, and I love what I'm doing. I get to use my artistry and creativity as a photographer and a creative director. I get to create programs. I get to develop this amazing work and work with world-renowned musicians, and there's complete freedom in that. Complete and utter freedom in that, and it's wonderful. So adaptability, flexibility, open to opportunities, a growth mindset, an open mindset, willingness to understand that things don't always come the way you think they should, and I would say perseverance. It was difficult for me making the shift from being a full-time creative to being in leadership. It was difficult for me to rather I should say I had obstacles making the shift from being a full-time creative over to administration. I was a leader in my field, okay? And then I had to learn how things were done in the nonprofit world. And it was a lot to learn. And I'm not embarrassed to say I made mistakes, but the idea is that you should fail fast. And when I say fail fast, okay, if you have a failure, don't sit in it, okay? Yeah. Take what you can from it, learn, set the rest aside, keep going. A lot of times I find I've been meeting young people who, when they experience a failure, stop. And when you stop, that's like entropy. You can't stop. You have to always keep moving forward. Just take what you can from whatever that experience is, the things that you needed to learn, use that and move forward. I mean, because everyone's going to have failures. I mean, Bill Gates has had failures. I mean, seriously, Elon Musk, people have had failures. But the idea is if you can get up quickly and keep going, that's what's important. And so, yeah, it was moving from the creative realm and production over to leadership. So it's the desire to learn. It's the willingness. You got to be open. And I mean, I know there's a lot there. I mean, but I think those are the important things. And I can't say enough about perseverance and resilience. life is going to throw curveballs, and you just have to dust yourself off. It's this age-old adage. I mean, it's kind of like, everybody says that, but it really is the truth.
Yeah.
It really is the truth. Not to get bogged down in any stressors around us, but to see the way through and keep going.
It's really powerful.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi guys, we know that video is different than what we normally post, but I think it was important to share Stephanie and her experiences with you guys because she's a really cool person. The main takeaway is no matter what you're going through, persevere because you got this. We will be putting the link to her website, A Tribe for Jazz, in the description below, so make sure to check that out. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye!